Okay, so this is going to be my not the Ottawa Marathon recap, because I did not run the official Ottawa Marathon on race day in Ottawa. And as much of it was a last minute decision, a lot went into the decision. And I'd been single parenting a, we'll call it medically complex child for 5-ish days, 4 or 5 days leading into it. And we do have support, but still, working full time, managing that, training, getting ready to run a marathon. And it just taken its toll. Sleep was about 20% less than it usually would be. And going into race week, sleep is, paramount to come in sharp and ready. So that was lacking, and I wasn't terribly excited about the forecast. I've raced in much worse conditions, and honestly, the conditions could have definitely been ideal, and they looked like in the end that they were pretty well ideal. So I went to bed Saturday night intending to wake up at 3:30 and go run this marathon. And as you do, I wake up to take a pee at about 11:30 midnight and proceeded to toss and turn in bed for 3-ish hours, convincing myself of all the reasons I should do it, of all the reasons I shouldn't do it, and excuses, giving myself a pass to not do it. I had already run 2 marathons this spring, and everything, in the week that kind of was going against me, and the weather, would I get out there and just not even have a good time and just hate myself, not hate myself, but just hate the experience, hate being out there, and wish I hadn't, and maybe get sick, whatever. And then part of me was like, don't be a wuss, just go get it done. You signed up for it, go get it done. Doesn't matter how fast or slow you go get it done. You told people you were doing this. And I'm lying there thinking back and forth, listening to the heavy rain. Overnight it was pretty heavy rain at times outside my window. And I just decided, 3 o'clock, I just woke up. And then I had sacrificed an extra three hours of sleep, and I wasn't gonna get any more sleep. So I would have gotten 2.5, 3 hours sleep that night at most. So I got up at 3, decided I wasn't gonna race, and just made the decision, then went back to bed. Slept in until about 6:30, woke up, went about my morning, disappointed in myself, but excited for some friends that were racing, but disappointed that I had made that decision, but I had to live with it. And then I decided to say, screw it, I'm gonna go get on the treadmill later in the morning. Once I've had my coffee, I've had my, my morning routine, we'll say, and just get on the treadmill and plan to run a marathon on the treadmill, and plan to execute my pacing and nutrition strategy on the treadmill, trying to mimic the Ottawa Marathon route as quickly or as closely as I could. And so that's what I did. And dang it if it didn't go friggin' well, to be honest. I know treadmill running is not the same as outdoor running. I get it. Whenever I run indoors, I set the treadmill at minimum 0.5 to 1% incline. I play with the incline to mimic it. My treadmill can go down to -3, so I can hit some declines and smash the quads a bit, and then I'm usually 0.5 to 1 or more incline to mimic the actual real world kind of aerobic effort, whatever that you have to put out. So I accumulated more elevation gain over my marathon than was the Ottawa Marathon course. And ironically, I'm running this marathon on my treadmill in my basement, watching the live stream of the Ottawa Marathon elite field while I'm doing it. So it was kind of, I don't know, this weird parallel, I guess. But so my treadmill, I got into a really good rhythm, and I was just on the treadmill 13.3, which is a 430 kilometer, hitting 13.3, and then kind of, every now and again, tapping it up, 13.3 to 13.4, up to 14, which is I think 417-ish per K, and then holding that for a bit, and then dropping right back down to 430s. So just to build a little bit of a buffer. I know negative splitting the marathon is the thing to do, but I haven't learned that lesson yet, so I'd like to bank a little bit of time. And I just love doing mental math. So I was kind of like running these kilometers knowing that, you know, I wanted to run the first 2 hours. I wanted to run at least 27 kilometers. My treadmill resets at 2 hours. I had no choice but to stop and restart. So in the first 2 hours, I ended up running just a consistent, that was just steady. It never felt overwhelming. It felt sustainable the entire time. And I ran 27.36 kilometers in the first 2 hours. And then I jumped off, hit reset as quickly as I could, let the treadmill reset, jumped back on and continued going. And it got tough, I'm not gonna lie, it got tough. And like I was forcing myself to like accumulate that incline. So I was punching it up to 2, 2.5, 3, playing with the speed a little bit so that I'm running slower uphill, just kind of manage the effort as best I could. And slowly just chipped away at the distance. And knew in my mind I wanted to run under 3:10, but I also wanted to run, in the end, my brain changed to I want to average 13.5 kilometers per hour in the end. So that was my new goal. So 13.3 would have hit my goal target time. I wanted 13.5 average kilometers per hour. So I just kept doing the mental math, kind of managed it, knew what I needed to average over the remaining distance, and just kind of chipped away, watching the live stream. And then when that was done, just put on music and actually rewound the live stream, but have music in my ears and just listen to that instead. And ran through it. Nutrition was flawless. I went through the 6 SIS beta fuel gel, so 240 grams of carbs from those over the course of the run. And then before the run, I had the SIS beta fuel chews, which is an additional 46 grams. So I think it worked out to right around 92 grams per hour, something in that ballpark. And I never felt stomach upset. I felt like I could have done more. So that's a good sign. I will try and kind of push that number up a little bit more, closer to 100. And I went through probably about 2 liters maybe of fluid, of sports drink, of Pro H2O from PBL, just an electrolyte drink. No calories in that, but just hydration. And just tapped it out. And a big thing, environmental factor. Yes, it was cold and rainy at the start of the Ottawa Marathon, but watching it looked like it was, intermittent rain, but in the end, it looked like it was, I don't want to say ideal conditions, because I don't think it was ideal with the wind and the rain, but it didn't look like it affected times that much. And I have friends who set PBs on this course on the day. So in my basement, I had, I have a window open next to me, I have 2 fans on me, and I have a dehumidifier, but all with that, it was still around 22, 23 degrees in my basement with about 55% humidity, sometimes creeping up to close to 60% humidity. So I would say that conditions wise, it was, net a wash maybe. And so yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed I didn't do the marathon on the day with all the other people. But I'm glad that I grinded out a marathon nonetheless on the treadmill at home and just got it done. Covered the distance. If nothing else, a great training stimulus. So that's it. No medal, no cool Strava kudos, but I ran a marathon on the day, even though it wasn't what the plan was. So I will live with it. And on to the next. The next being the Tremblant 70.3 in 4 weeks.